If you are on the path to manifesting your dream job, you may be closer than you think. I am going to explain to you what I did to manifest my dream job. And I'm also going to tell you the story of how my dream job actually manifested, because it was not at all how I expected. When I was manifesting my dream job, I was also manifesting a lot of changes to my life in general. And so I talk about the full manifestation process that I was using during this time in a lot more detail in my video called How I Manifested My Dream Life in 30 Days. When I was starting this manifestation routine, I was kind of at a rock bottom in terms of my career, my relationships, my finances, my living situation, really everything. And so I decided to start this kind of intense manifestation process to really get my entire life back on track. And so this manifestation routine consisted of a morning routine that I did every day as soon as I woke up, and a night routine that I did every night right before I fell asleep. And I explained the step-by-step process of how to do these morning routines and these night routines in more detail in my previous video, but overall they consisted of a bit of journaling and a bit of visualization meditation practices. And I did these routines every day for 30 days straight. And so in terms of the job portion of these routines specifically, I really was not where I wanted to be in my career. I actually felt like I had recently in my life went backwards and wound up in this job that really was totally out of alignment with what I wanted in my life. It wasn't in the industry that I wanted to be in. It wasn't in the department that I wanted to be in. And it definitely wasn't paying me what I wanted to be paid. And so all around, this current job that I was working was just not a match for where I wanted to be. And on top of that, this job was a lot of work, it was a lot of hours, and there was not a lot of flexibility. And so when I started focusing on manifesting my dream job, I was actually a little bit at this point vague about exactly where I wanted to be. And I focused more on the finances, how much money I wanted to be making. And so I would write something in my journal, like, I am so grateful that I'm working in my dream job and I am making more than X amount of money per year, and I am making more than X amount of money per month. And so I was very vague with what the actual job was going to be. I actually wanted to be a project manager. So this was the role that I was like aiming for in my head, but I wasn't writing that down in my journal because I didn't want to block the universe off from any other possibilities that may be a better fit for me. So I just kept it very vague, and I really just focused on how much money I wanted to make, because at this point in my life, what I really cared about, to be honest with you, in terms of my job and my career, was just making a certain amount of money. So that's really all I was doing in regards to manifesting my dream job. I was writing that exact phrase in my journal every morning when I woke up as part of my morning routine, and every night before I went to bed as part of my night routine. And I was doing this along with a couple other journaling and meditation visualization practices that I was doing as part of that overall manifesting my dream life manifestation challenge. And so I did that challenge for 30 days. And when the 30 days was up, I actually kept doing it because I had gotten to a point where I started to enjoy the process of manifesting itself. That time when I woke up right away in the morning, and that time right before I went to bed, where I could just kind of reconnect myself with my own energy, focus on my own goals, and really focus on consciously aligning myself with my own purpose and with my own energetic calling. And so I got to a point where I just loved having that time to myself in the morning and at night. And so it was really easy for me to continue to do this routine after the 30 days ended because it was such a habit in my life. And honestly, I still do this manifestation routine to this day. I love it. I feel like when I am doing this manifestation routine, I am just so much more aligned with my higher self, with my own energy, with my purpose, my calling, my goals. And I really feel like my life just continues to get better and better in an upward trajectory as I do this routine. And anytime that I have stopped doing this routine, I have noticed that my life has gone backwards, or I feel less connected to my higher self, and I don't feel like I'm manifesting as consciously. My energy tends to get a lot more shaky, and I feel like I tend to veer off the path of manifesting what I want, and my life kind of starts to just be created unconsciously. So I love this routine still to this day. And so as you can see there, I wasn't doing a lot of work specifically related to my career, right? I was writing this one thing in my journal, and I was doing this overall dream life manifestation routine, and just focusing a small part of that on the dream career specifically. But it still worked out to align me with my dream job. The story of how my dream job manifested actually happened in layers, and that is a major point on why I wanted to tell this story. Because looking back now, I can look back at my life and say, oh yeah, I see that I manifested my dream job. But at the time when all of this was happening and I was getting closer to my dream job, it wasn't obvious to me that the manifestation was working. I couldn't see the wider long-term view of what was going on. And so all this time that my manifestation was working, I didn't actually know that it was working. And so I wasn't aware how well these manifestation practices were working until years down the road when I actually got my manifestation, when I actually got my dream job. And I don't say this to tell you that it needs to take a long time to manifest your dream job, or that you have to manifest your dream job in levels. You can definitely quantum jump into your dream job. You can definitely manifest huge shifts in your life. And you can definitely manifest these large changes a lot faster than I did. But for the sake of this story, and for the sake of my vibration at that time around my career and my finances, what I believed I was capable of, I started this journey in 2020, and I actually ended up aligning with my dream job in 2022. So it was actually a 2-year process for me to fully manifest the actual dream job. And during this time, I had several up-levelings where I up-leveled a level that was closer to my dream job. So I started down here on my rock bottom, and then over the course of 2 years, I took these little level type steps. And then at the end of the 2 years, I actually had a kind of a big jump where I manifested right into that dream job. So it wasn't instant for me. It definitely took some time. And I definitely think that a lot of that has to do with my own limiting beliefs around money, hard work, success, what I was capable of, what is possible, all of that. And so it took me a while to clean up all of these limiting beliefs and actually align my vibration with the identity of the person that can hold that type of salary, that can embody my dream job. So actually the very first thing that happened when I set out to manifest my dream job was that I applied for a job in the same company that I was working for, but in a different department, working in the role of project manager that I was aiming for, and I didn't get that job. And so that was the first step, was just a rejection for the job. But because I was rejected for that job, I actually decided to do some networking around other departments at the company to see if there was any other project manager type roles available that I could step into in any of the other departments, since this one department didn't want to hire me. And this is when I actually met my future boss. And so I networked with her, and she worked in the marketing department at this company. Luckily, the company that I was working for at the time was really into networking. They were actually a very great company for helping you advance your career within that company. And so they really encourage networking with people in departments that you wanted to work in the future. And so I kind of used this to my advantage to network with this woman who worked in the marketing department. And so I met with her, it went great, and my life returned to normal for a few months until a position in her department opened up, and she let me know about the position. I applied for the position and I got the role. And so this was the first big level that was taking me closer to my dream job. So now I was in the job that I wanted. I was in a project manager position, right? But the pay was not what I wanted. It was not what I was trying to manifest. It was a lot lower. And so this was a raise. This was more than I was making in my previous position, but it was still significantly lower than the amounts that I was writing in my journal at the time that I was trying to manifest. And so I took this job, and things are going great. The job is exactly what I wanted. It's super chill. It's super easy. The people on the team are amazing. My boss is amazing. Everything's really in alignment here except for the finances. And so actually this is where I kind of hit a stall in terms of my manifestation. And I believe this is because at this time, like I mentioned, I was doing this manifestation routine to change my entire life, right? And so the universe was shifting a lot of the other aspects of my life at this time, and I actually aligned with a move across the country where I kept this same job, but I ended up working remotely. And so during this time, I had probably a year here where I wasn't making any financial gains or anything, but I was moving across the country. I had manifested my dream apartment at this time. And so I had also manifested working remotely, which is something that I also wanted. So this could also be considered another level, right? Because now I have that added manifestation of working remotely that's now become part of my new reality because I made this big move. And so then after a year, not a lot of movement during this first year at all in terms of finances, I finally got a promotion and I got a significant raise, but it was still not even close to the amount that I'm writing in my journal, the amount that I want to manifest. So at this point, I'm feeling a little bit like, is this even gonna work? Like a little bit doubting of the manifestation process, because I'm like, come on, like I'm manifesting, I'm writing this every day, and I get this raise and it's not even close to what I want, right? So the doubts start to set in here. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna settle for this. I'm gonna start looking for more jobs. I'm gonna see if there's anything that's like now local to me that I can apply for that could be a little bit more money. And I ended up finding a job at a local marketing agency, and it gave me a little bump in pay once again. So another like small raise. And I was like, okay, whatever, it's better than nothing. This is great. It seems like this company has a lot of room for improvement, has a lot of room for growth. So I took that job. And actually, I feel like this might have been a step off of my actual manifestation path because I wasn't in this job very long. I was only there for around like 6 months, and it was pretty immediate that this was just like not a fit for me. I just didn't feel aligned with the company or the people. Super nice company, but I just didn't feel like it was a fit for me, right? So after like 6 months or so, I actually ended up taking a job at my previous company again, the company that I had previously worked for, in a different department that gave me another small raise. And so it was like, okay, I'm slowly getting these small raises, and now I'm back with this company that I originally started with, but I'm making significantly more money, but still less money than I was trying to manifest. And so what I did is I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna sit around and make less than I want. And so I actually went and found a part-time remote job that I could add to my full-time job that I could work, in the evenings. And the combination of what I was making during my full-time job and what I was making during this part-time job added up to be what I was trying to manifest. So I finally manifested that salary that I wanted between these two jobs. And so that's when I think I actually was able to energetically align with the identity of the person that made this salary that I was trying to manifest, because I was making that salary through these two jobs. And so I was able to be in the wish fulfilled, and I was able to finally hold the vibration of making that much money. And I was actually able to believe that I could make that much money, because I think my major block here that was keeping me from aligning with this much money was just the belief that I could make that much money. So when I was finally in a position where I was making that money, even though it was through these two jobs, I was able to shatter that belief that that amount of money is so out of reach, because I was actually making that amount of money. And so at that moment, when I was able to shatter that belief and I was able to embody the identity, step into the identity of the person that already makes that much money, and it's easy, it comes natural to them, that's when things really shifted in my life. And that's when my dream job dropped into my life. And so that's when the weird thing happened. Actually, when I first started doing this manifestation routine a couple of years ago now, I was in the job that I didn't like, right? And I was trying to get into this other position, this project manager position. And so while I was networking in my own company, I was actually also reaching out to this recruiting agency. And so I made some connections there, but there just wasn't any jobs that were aligned with me at that time. And so I just didn't really hear from them again. But 2 years later now, that recruiting agency that I reached out to right when I started my manifestation routine emailed me a position that was the exact job that I was trying to manifest. It was my project manager marketing job, working remotely from home, and the pay was actually $20,000 more than the pay that I was trying to manifest. So it was more money that I was trying to manifest. And so I was like, oh my gosh, this is my dream job. I have to apply, right? And so I applied, and it turns out that the person who was hiring for this dream job that I had just applied for actually knew a lot of people from my old company, from the marketing department at my old company. And so because she already had this existing relationship with this company that had been building over the past couple of years, the same time that I had been manifesting my dream job, I actually was able to get an interview, and the interview went amazing, and I got the job. And so at that point, all of these pieces that I couldn't see that were working in my favor behind the scenes to lead me to my dream job, they all kind of clicked into place, and I was able to see them all coming together, and everything aligned for me so that I got my dream job, and it was amazing. It was by far the easiest, most fun job that I have ever had in my life, and it was remote, and the pay was even more than I wanted. So it was truly my dream job, and I was just sitting there like, wow, how is this even a real job? Like, how is this even a real thing? And so I was just like, wow, dreams really do come true. And if you have watched some of my previous videos, you probably know that I don't actually work for this job anymore. I actually just do my YouTube channel full time, and I'm really working on growing my YouTube channel into a full-time purpose and making that my career, because I do feel like this is my main passion. This is my main calling, right? Manifestation, spirituality, it's always been my passion. It's always been my calling. So I feel like this is what I am meant to be doing at a soul level. This is what I love doing. I'm not going to get into that transition today of how I manifested from my dream corporate job to my dream spiritual business job, because that's honestly a whole other story and a whole other manifestation success adventure. But I will definitely tell that story in a future video, so be on the lookout for that. And I definitely recommend, if you haven't watched it already, check out my video, How I Manifested My Dream Life in 30 Days. I feel like I talk about this video all the time, but the manifestation routine that I talk about in this video that I still do to this day, 4 years later, has literally changed my life in the craziest ways. And it continues to transform and improve my life every day. And so if you are just starting out on your manifestation journey, or you want to up-level your manifestation journey, I definitely recommend that you check out this video, check out that routine, and implement it into your life for 30 days because the results are truly life-changing.